it is safe to say that some people are not too happy with tech titan Elon Musk.
So much so that there have been a swarm of protests recently against Musk and his electric car company, Tesla.
Some people have even, for instance, earlier this year, Colorado police arrested a 42-year-old woman for allegedly causing between $5,000 and $20,000 in damage at a Tesla dealership. Police say that she ignited Molotov cocktails in the parking lot and then spray-painted Nazi on the entrance sign. Earlier this month, Massachusetts police said that 7 Tesla charging stations were set on fire. Also this month, Oregon police said that 3 cars were damaged, windows were shattered, after someone fired at least 7 shots at a Tesla dealership. More recently, on March 8th, there were more than 350 protesters at a Tesla showroom in New York City. Police did arrest 6 people.
There's even uproar in places overseas. In Berlin this month, for instance, there were several fires at a Tesla factory construction site. Police are investigating whether that was arson. Prosecutors in France said that a dozen Tesla cars were set ablaze and that this was, quote, not at all accidental.
According to reports, Mexican billionaire Carlos Slim is appearing to cut ties with Musk's Starlink. Slim's América Móvil announced a $22 billion investment in their telecommunications network, signaling a shift away from Musk's company.
In late February, Musk's net worth had declined by more than $100 billion. Poor Elon. This coincided with an increase in sell-offs of Tesla shares. In Europe, Tesla sales dropped 45%, even though electric vehicle sales overall rose 37%. That's according to Bloomberg.
So far, Musk's DOGE has cut more than 62,000 federal jobs, which angered many on the left. Of course, DOGE plans to make even more cuts. The Department of Veterans Affairs, for instance, plans to cut thousands of jobs very, very soon.
In January, many accused Musk of throwing up what they called a Nazi salute. The ADL, an organization that combats anti-Semitism, defended Musk and argued that the salute was essentially meaningless.
Musk took to X yesterday amid all this upheaval, writing, "Heartfelt thanks to everyone supporting Tesla, despite the many attacks against our stores and offices."
So, are Musk's political ventures worth all of this trouble? Or is this just a brief bump in the road?
Well, I think he probably clearly feels it's worth it. He has made a series of savvy bets in order to have a lot of political power for various reasons. We can debate whether his motives are good or bad, or some mix therein. I would say the violence against Tesla company, the smashing of windows, these things, these are certainly bad, deplorable. I condemn them. I presume you do as well. I don't know. I'm always a little cautious when kinds of things happen. Like, is this even a pattern? I'm sure something like there's protesters. Sure, that's about this. Are other crazy people just like, setting things on fire?
Bandwagon effect?
There's some amount of that happening anyway, and there's a kind of contagion effect where, like, when someone becomes more notable, then that becomes the reason crazy people act out, but it's not really. Mentally ill people are actually frequently finding some kind of crazy political motivation for the things that they do.
Well, that is true, but at the same time, there are obviously organized protests that we showed some of there, where the whole point is to be countering him, to be showing dissent against him. I think that people standing outside Tesla dealerships protesting and holding signs about how they think Elon Musk is terrible is completely fine.
Of course.
I think that people setting fire to cars or vandalizing premises or whatever is not fine, and to be clear, I share your disagreement with that. On the point of Elon Musk making a savvy bet, I think that he has bought political influence, certainly, and I've said that many times. Spent more than $250 million getting Donald Trump elected. He is now harvesting, in my view, in a very damaging way, the dividend from that by being able to have such a central role in government. The other thing, just in passing, is that lots of people, including me, when he first bought what was then Twitter, thought that's a kind of bad investment, and in fact, I was misunderstanding what he was really trying to do.
Yes.
As a business decision in isolation, it was, I think, a bad decision, but I don't think that was his motivation. I think his motivation was buying a megaphone for the kind of views that he believes in, much as a press baron of old might have bought a newspaper for that purpose. I think it has made X measurably worse, and I dislike it a lot more, but it has been an effective move on his part.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos has been looking at the Washington Post, which he owns, and thinking, why has this not served to broadcast my views the way X has for Elon Musk, which is why he put out that memo last week trying to bring the opinion pages, at least, more in line with what he thinks is good policy. As you point out, yes, Elon owning the platform allowed him to, he's its most celebrated user, to broadcast his views, to align the platform more with conservative messaging, and was perhaps just as important or similarly important to getting the Trump message out there as his donations to Trump's political cause. I think Elon, his fortunes are so vast they can go up or down by $100 billion. His bet is that a Trump presidency will be good on the regulatory front for all sorts of his companies, Tesla, also SpaceX, that our future is going to be so guided by the importance and the paramount importance of tech policy. Now, I'm broadly in favor of this. I don't think Elon should be able to craft government policy in a way that is uniquely favorable to his specific firms. That I'm against, or favorable treatment for his contract as a contractor. That I am concerned about. But I do want the regulation. For instance, there was a Biden executive order on AI that I thought was overly restrictive of the technology. China is coming out with new AI. It's very important for me as a foreign policy goal, a national security goal, for us to be out-innovating our main geopolitical rival, and I think Trump and Bezos and the other tech titans feel that way too, and are getting on board with Trump largely for that reason, because they think a Trump administration, or Republican administration more broadly, is going to unleash their potential to dominate, for America to dominate these industries.
So 2 points on that. One about things that benefit Elon's personal interests versus a general policy. I think it is often hard to distinguish those things. The problem that I have is that one can so easily bleed into the other. So, for example, DOGE has spearheaded the effective hollowing out of the CFPB. You and I have different views on the utility of the CFPB, but one of its functions would have been, for example, to regulate a mobile payment system that X is apparently planning to launch. So by hollowing that out, Elon removes a force of regulation over his own business interests. Just briefly circling back to where we began on the Tesla point, it's interesting to me, and you might even agree with this, how the same thing can become differently politically coded within a very short space of time. Because, of course, one of the reasons that Tesla sales are falling, particularly in Europe, is that at one point, buying the Tesla was the liberal concerned about the environment, concerned about carbon emissions. We're going to run a more green kind of approach to transportation, with an Elon Musk who was then purportedly Democrat or Democrat-leaning or whatever,
right. And
now he's this ultra-Trumpy ex-person who supports the AfD in Germany, and so the sales have gone completely the opposite way.
I mean, this demonstrates the difficulty of separating. I mean, I agree with you. It's difficult to separate his financial interests and the politics, but in fairness, I don't think a lot of people in progressive or Democratic circles are sitting around complaining about the influence, if you go back, of some, go green energy titan like Elon Musk saying, yeah, let's have more, funding for let's build more charging stations, let's promote EVs. I mean, Democrats were promoting EVs. That was their message during a couple years ago, during some of the price shortage of cars becoming much more expensive. They were saying, like, yeah, go get a Tesla, it's a great investment, or go get an electric vehicle. And if Elon was all for that then, is that the nefarious influence?
Right.
Now, when he's on the other side saying, actually, don't invest in these things, my technology can compete, but that is improper, it becomes hard to, businessmen just have to shut up, say nothing about the circumstance its improper influence.
Well, look, honestly, that's a valid point, and I have said, including on this show numerous times, the thing that I have an issue with is the influence of extremely wealthy people or corporations on our politics. That does not only support one party. I think it pulls the Democratic Party often in a more corporate-friendly direction than I would like, but that's a whole other day's work. But look, there's too much money in politics, and I think there should be much stricter limits on it. I think government should bring down its fist, Robby, and prevent people giving these millions and millions of dollars to their political choices.
Up next, a nation in the Middle East stands on the brink. That nation is Syria. We will discuss the violence there coming up next.